Hi friends, we're back with another interesting video. In this session, we are going to talk about Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya is one of the oldest philosophical system of ancient India and is considered as a groundwork for Advaita Vedanta. Stay tuned in with the video and enjoy.
Have you ever asked, where did this universe come from? Why does anything exist at all? Or, what is this I that sees, feels, and thinks? Today we dive deep into one of the most ancient and brilliant philosophical systems of India, Sankhya, as explained by Swami Vivekananda. Sankhya philosophy was propounded by Kapil Muni, an ancient sage from India. According to him, universe does not come out of nothing. He was an ancient propounder of law of causality. As every effect is the product of some cause, Kapil sees universe as the result reproduced from a primitive cause. Let us dive deeper into Sankhya philosophy. Please, stay with us till the end. Sankhya claims that beginning with the intellect down to a block of stone, all is the product of one substance, different only as finer to grosser states of existence. The finer is the cause and the grosser is the effect. Let us understand the two distinct principal factors of creation according to this theory. First, Prakriti, which is an unconscious, indifferentiated, formless potential from which everything arises. This state is perfectly balanced, changeless and inert. It is a potential cause of everything that exists, a finest but unmanifested state of visible universe. Second, Purusha, pure consciousness, the eternal witness, beyond thought, beyond will, beyond form. It is an immaterial principle that gives light to the mind. Imagine Prakriti as a perfectly still ocean. Balanced, silent, unchanging. According to Sankhya, Prakriti is a balanced state between the three modes of nature: sattva, equilibrium; rajas, activity or movement; and tamas, darkness or inactivity. While rajas can generate attraction or repulsion, which are necessary for any modification, tamas brings it back to inert state. And sattva is the equilibrium between them. These are not the elements but the qualities, which makes evolution of universe possible. Their combination and recombination leads to the development of visible universe. This state of equilibrium contains the potential for all things, yet nothing is manifest. Now, Purusha, the conscious observer, stands apart. Although it does not act or move, yet its presence alone disturbs the balance. It gives the first cause for the differentiation of Prakriti. It provides primeval impulse for the vibration, and initiates the act of creation. Just like a mirror reflects a flame without touching it, Purusha reflects within Prakriti. That reflection initiates the movement. Purusha does not mix with Prakriti, but it adds the factor necessary for vibration, first disturbance in the eternally silent Prakriti. And from that first ripple in stillness, the universe begins.
Seems like there are three modes of nature: sattva, raja and tama. The sattva is the balance. It always tries to balance these two forces, rajas and tamas, which are always negating each other. So rajas basically means that which produces vibration, which produces the motion. So if the electron is moving around, that's due to the rajas guna. Right? If you are very active and passionate, creative, so that's because of the rajas guna. So these are not the elements, these are the modes of the nature. So here at the beginning, when there was no creation, these three attributes, sattva, raja, tama, are in perfect balance with each other. There is no vibration. That's why Prakriti is in very tranquil state. It has not been disturbed, so there is no creation at all at this stage. There is a proper equilibrium. However, when Purusha acts on the Prakriti, balance between these three modes, sattva, raja, tama, is disturbed. The rajas is now producing motion, vibration. So it seems like Sankhya suggests that the whole universe is created out of the vibration in the Prakriti, and when the vibration starts, it starts differentiating into the grosser matter. But the rajas is always negated by tamas. Tamas means it wants to go back to the original state, the inertness. So while Rajas tries to create the motion, Tamas tries to take it back to the original state, to the inertness. But Sattva is always there to make the balance. So that's why now these three forces are dancing, acting on the Prakriti. Now there is the creation happening, the vibration happening, and Prakriti suddenly starts responding and differentiating into grosser matter.
The first transformation in Prakriti is Mahat, the cosmic intelligence, which is the highest manifestation of nature, of which human intellect is only a small part. Cosmic intelligence is an universal state yet indifferentiated into mind and matter. A state where both mind and matter are present as a potency into a same substance. But this substance yet has not differentiated into anything that we see or analyze today. Imagine it as a finest cause of the gross universe that we see today. It includes the entire spectrum of finer seeds for mind and matter. From Mahat arises universal egoism. Now see how indifferentiated state is gradually differentiating into less grosser state, just as a fertilized zygote differentiates into embryo, which has yet not become a full-fledged human fetus. And mind and matter have not been separated yet. This universal egoism now differentiates downstream under the influence of three modes of nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas. From now on, nature constantly differentiates from finer to grosser state under the influence of these three modes. Therefore, you can imagine every natural manifestation as an outcome of these three modes but at different proportions. As in Sankhya, both mind and matter differentiate simultaneously. The sattva mode therefore leads to differentiation of mind and 5 sensory organs, neural network and their sensory extensions. In Sankhya philosophy, the quality of rajas, which represents activity and motion, plays a central role in the differentiation of the subtle and gross aspects of experience. From the dynamic influence of rajas within Prakriti, nature, 2 essential sets of faculties emerge, the 5 karmendriyas or organs of action, and the 5 tanmatras or subtle elements. The karmendriyas include speech, vak, grasping, hands, movement, feet, elimination, anus, and procreation, genitals, all of which enable the body to act and interact with the world. Meanwhile, the quality of tamas is responsible for the emergence of the 5 tanmatras or subtle elements: sound, sabda; touch, sparsa; form or sight, rupa; taste, rasa; and smell, gandha. These tanmatras are not perceivable directly but serve as the potential blueprints of sensory experience. These tanmatras, emerging from tamas, inertia, are vibratory patterns of energy. They are not gross but serve as blueprints for physical matter. From these, the Mahabhutas or gross elements are derived: akasa, ether; from sound, vayu, air; from touch, tejas, fire; from form, apa, water; from taste, and prithvi, earth; from smell. Thus, through the inertial unfolding of tamas, the subtle energies condense into the physical universe. Remember, in Sankhya, gross matter always evolves from its subtle counterpart. As the macrocosm evolves this way, so does the microcosm, the individual organism. As you can see, both biological organisms and universe are developed through same principle in Sankhya, and Purusha and Prakriti represents consciousness and body in terms of human being. Sankhya maintains life is not random phenomenon, as evolution of mind and matter occurs from the same precursor and happens simultaneously under the influence of 3 modes of nature. This analytical philosophy thus gives a flowchart of 25 elements that makes evolution of living being and universe possible. These 25 elements forms an entire architecture of physical, mental and spiritual aspects of living organisms as well as the universe. But here's a key insight. Sankhya does not accept that atoms are the fundamental building blocks of the universe. Why? Because atomism leads to infinite regress. If atoms make up everything, or suppose particles, then what fills the space between them? If you add a subtler medium like ether, then what fills the space between the particles of ether? And so on. This chain never ends and explains nothing. Instead, Sankhya says the cause of all things must be a continuous, undivided field, Prakriti, out of which the gross emerges as a condensation. The cause is not something separate from the effect. It is the subtle form of the effect. And destruction simply means returning to that subtle form. Nothing ever vanishes. It only transforms.
Sankhya is the first analytical philosophy, the first ancient philosophy which talked about the law of causality, which means for every effect to happen, there should be a cause preceding it. Something cannot come out of nothing. Unlike the modern science, which suggests that the evolution of universe happens first and then evolution of biological organisms takes place, Sankhya has different note unto that. Mind and matter co-evolve together in Sankhya philosophy.
Now let's ask, what is knowledge? Vivekananda gives a powerful insight. Knowledge is not the absorption of something new. It is the recognition of something by comparing it with past impressions. You know a tree because you have seen many trees. If the mind had no previous storehouse of impressions, it could not recognize anything. So knowledge is not possible without memory. And this memory cannot be explained only by heredity. The impressions are too precise, too deep. The child carries knowledge from before birth. Therefore, consciousness, the Purusha, must have existed before the body. Knowledge, by its nature, is always about recognition, about linking the new to the old. But when we encounter something for which we have no past impression, like the totality of the universe, we find no comparison, and so we struggle to understand it. That is why, until we move beyond the limited mind into the superconscious, we cannot see the harmony that pervades the whole. Now comes the most radical claim of Sankhya. Everything in nature is unconscious. Even intelligence, mind, and will. They are governed by law, and wherever there is law, there is no freedom. That means all of Prakriti is insentient. Only Purusha is truly sentient. Mind only appears conscious because it reflects the light of Purusha. It has no light of its own. Purusha does not think, does not act, does not know in the ordinary sense. It simply witnesses. It is the silent seer, untouched by what it observes. It is not intelligence, not will, not even consciousness in the changing sense. It is pure sentiency, presence without movement. Sankhya says that every individual being has its own Purusha. Not one, but infinite Purushas. Each is eternal, free, and all-pervading. But this raises a question: can there be many infinities? Can there be many absolutes? Vedanta answers this by saying that all apparent Purushas are reflections of one undivided reality. But the conceptual groundwork begins here. Why does the world seem broken, chaotic, and imperfect? Because we see only a fragment. Judging the universe through our limited senses and reason is like reading one torn page from an epic novel and declaring it flawed. Now we come to a final, beautiful insight. Purusha and Prakriti together give rise to the dual experience of life. The observer and the observed. The knower and the known. The self and the world. Purusha, by its presence, illuminates the structures of Prakriti. Those structures, in turn, organize into the human system, mind, ego, senses, and body. That is the observer. At the same time, Prakriti unfolds outward as the universe, the stars, the elements, the forces, and forms. That is the observed. What we call experience is simply the interaction between these two, the silent witness within and the changing cosmos without. This is the genius of Sankhya. It offers a complete framework, metaphysical, psychological, and scientific, that explains how consciousness, body, and cosmos are all part of one unfolding reality. So what is the essence of Sankhya? The universe emerges from inert Prakriti, not from atoms. Change is the play of natural law and is brought about by action of consciousness or Purusha on the Prakriti. Therefore, Sankhya psychology revolves around recognition of Purusha within oneself. While the body and mind is product of Prakriti, Purusha is the one that gives light to it. Thus Sankhya, the ancient analytical philosophy, which is considered as groundwork of Advaita Vedanta, starts with and also ends with liberation.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again in the next episode.